podcast. My name is Jireh, your host, and can you believe we are at episode 10 already of the Real and Radiant podcast? I can't believe it's been, that many episodes in already, consistently too. I can't believe, we have 9 episodes recorded and published on these different streaming platforms, including this one, so 10. So I'm so grateful and happy that we've been consistent and that you've also been listening and tuning in too. And I also wanted to just kind of ask you is because I know last week I segued into fashion and style. It was like 34 tips, fashion and style tips from a talk that I did a couple weeks prior. And I never really asked, what did you guys think of the interviews that we had before last week's episode with my mom and my spiritual mentor, Cherry, and even my newest friend from the pandemic, Raquel. And the interviews that we had, I'm just also thankful again for their time and them being vulnerable and sharing their hearts on different topics. I think it's so awesome because all 3 of them were so different in their own way. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of touch on those because I know last week's episode was like veering to another direction so fast and we went to fashion and style. So, but anyways, speaking of episode number 10, I honestly thought that this episode would look a little different. I don't know. I think when I was planning this podcast and envisioning what episode 10 would be, I thought it would be a more, livelier topic, livelier subject matter, or something that I'm a bit more prepared for, at least. But to be honest, y'all, I didn't really know what to talk about for episode 10 until earlier this morning, and I'm recording this Sunday night. So this will be out the next day. So if you're listening to this on Monday, then this is all just coming together the night before. And I almost was very tempted to even just not have an episode out for tomorrow because I'm not really prepared. I didn't really know what we were going to talk about. And from a content creator point of view, this is when, the rubber meets the road, where the new podcast honeymoon phase is over, it's drifting away, and you just make that decision on being consistent or not, going for the goal that you had set out or not, putting out the episode content, just kind of pushing for that or not. And on a spiritual point of view, I'm just, to be honest, to be real, I'm just feeling kind of spiritually dry and spiritually weary, which I've been in this before. I've been in this boat before, and people have always said you can't give what you don't have, and you can't pour into others when you yourself aren't filled. And I feel that, like physically, spiritually, I feel that. This past week and a half has been, I don't like saying busy, because everyone's busy. Let's just say it's been very productive. And because of that and just everything that's been happening, I haven't really been making my time with the Lord, my quiet time, a priority. Usually I set out my first hour of the day set for Him, just studying His word, praying, meditating. And I literally, that's where I get filled. That's where I get spiritually fed. That's where the radiance comes in. And no matter what is about to come for the day, I know that God's got me and we're going to get through it together. And I'd had that for a good hour, I'd say, every morning. And just recently, lately, it's been 15 minutes, 10 minutes here and there. And yeah, I don't like it. And I there's always warning signs when I get to this point. And but I just want to share too, because for someone who has always just declared and shared her love for the Lord, and just wants to honor and please him, and who is involved in ministry, part of the core teams of ministry, who is a small group leader, and has a podcast that's, really dedicated to him, and the topics that we cover is for him. I get into these little dry spouts and these seasons, and I just want to be honest about that. And I know when I'm in these seasons, because it's when I'm becoming spiritually dry, I'm feeling burnt out, that I know it's because I haven't been getting spiritually fed. It's also when I've been allowing thoughts in my mind where I normally wouldn't allow to even enter or cross through my thoughts. And they have been, even just topics that we've covered so far on this podcast, like with my skin, it's been flaring up again, specifically on my face. And it's discouraging. I'm, again, thankful for makeup, because you would never be able to tell. Thankful that even we're still wearing masks on this side of the world, because it's just added protection, added, concealment for it. And even just thoughts of, as I've been working here, I'm just like, dang, I can't believe I'm still in the Philippines. And that's not necessarily in a bad or negative way. I'm just like, dang, God, you really had me here for like this long for a reason, apparently. So that's how I talk to God. And then there was this morning where, I love Sundays, because I just get to sleep in an hour or two extra more than I usually do throughout the week, and even on Saturdays. And it makes I love I love getting that extra hours of sleep. And I woke up this morning and opened my eyes, and I was like, what if I just don't go to church today? What if I just don't get out of bed? Or if I do watch church, like what if I just watch online, when I have a full capability to go face to face. And just 2 weeks prior, right, I'm like crying during our worship service, because I'm so happy and thankful that we're finally face to face. So it just shows, again, warning signs, what happens when you're starting to not prioritize God, and you start to stray away from him, and these motives and these thoughts just come into your mind. So thankfully, God met me right there, and he was like, no, you should go. You have no excuse not to go. You are fully capable of going. If there's anything that you need to do today, it's that, to physically go. So I got out of bed, washed my face, started getting ready for the day. And when I'm getting ready for the day, I usually either listen to the Real Daytime show on YouTube, Better Together, or just some video on the TBN YouTube channel. And today, it brought me to Lisa Harper's Propel message called "Your Miracle is on the Other Side of Perseverance." And I watched the whole thing as I was getting ready, and it was so timely. She talks about being in the waiting season and just persevering, and how those two words, those two things, are just something as humans we do not like. Those are things that we'd rather not be a part of, but it's inevitable in life to wait on him and to persevere. And then when I actually got to church and heard the message, we're actually on a series called Work Matters. And you can only imagine, the messages coming from the series so far on just excelling for God, working for God, no matter if you're a stay-at-home mom or you are 9 to 5 chugging it at the corporate world, whatever God has placed in your hands to work at, do it heartily, do it for the Lord. And those two things, just the message and that video, really kind of kicked me in the rear, reminded me that I need to start focusing on God more. If I continue in the ways that I have been, I will burn out and start making decisions that will affect other things, and it won't be for the good. And I've been there. I've been there so many times. And so I know if I don't make these changes, and really start having my quiet times back with him and having them for the good meaty hour that I've had before, and if I don't do that, then it could be detrimental, like literally. And if you're, by the way, if you're not really familiar, like with, and you can't really connect with me with having quiet times, or, having this time carved out with God during your day to be spiritually fed, it's kind of like working out, right? Like, let's say you're on a track record, you've been on this streak for so long, where you've been hitting the gym consistently. You do all that you want to do and accomplish at the gym, and you leave the gym feeling accomplished, and you are seeing the results. No one can tell you that you haven't been putting in the work, or that you're not disciplined, because you are living it. You're seeing the results. You're seeing the changes in your body. You're feeling better. You're feeling confident. And then what if you start to not be as disciplined, right? What if you are just get to the gym and you're doing a few reps or a few sets of something, and it's not your full workout routine like you would usually do, and you're there for maybe like 20 minutes, and you're like, all right, I think I'm good. That's enough for the day. And you go home, and that's it. And the more and more you do that, the more you are, and the more you're doing that, the more that you are telling yourself that you aren't, the more you do that, the more you're telling yourself that you're not disciplined, and that you can't achieve what you want to achieve. It's basically like the same with having your quiet time, or me having my quiet time with God. Like, on such a streak of spending time with him, and you are you feel so spiritually on fire and fed that no matter what happens in that day to come, you're just going to get through it with God. And as long as you do your best, as long as you do what you can, you'll leave the rest to him, and it will all work out. Like, he'll just be with you, and he'll just work it out with you. And so it's kind of the same thing. I hope that makes sense. I know I'm kind of going backwards on my stories here, but that's why when I'm not spending time and with my other fellow believers and, brothers and sisters in Christ out there, you can relate. I know you can relate to this, because you feel empty when you're not spending that time with the Lord. And that's just been me the past week and a half. And so from my these messages, this video and the message from church this morning really just reminded me that I need to get it together this coming week, just point blank. I need to get it together. I need to just spend that time with him, and be in prayer also. As it said, when we work, we work. When we pray, God works. And I just wanted to share some of the verses that Lisa Harper shared in that video. Again, it was called Your Miracle is on the Other Side of Perseverance. And I highly encourage you to listen to it when you can, like, even as you're getting ready for your day, like me, instead of listening to music or something, like, you can always listen to these videos to really just fill your mind with better thoughts and better things to start out your day. But anyways, she, especially her opening story, was so powerful. It was such a great way to start out her message. And so she shared some verses that I hope that we too can kind of declare over our own lives, and that if you are in the waiting season or you're trying to persevere and you feel like you are trying to catch your breath, you feel like you're just sinking in water and you're just like trying to stay afloat, I pray that these verses encourage you. And when I say I am trying to also really pack them into my own heart and believe in them and declare them over my life because I need it. Trust. I too am in such need of this spiritual water in my spiritual drought. So the first one is Psalm 40, verse 1. I waited patiently for the Lord, and he turned to me and heard my cry for help. Isaiah 30:18. The Lord longs to be gracious to you. Therefore he will rise up to show you compassion. For the Lord is a God of justice. Blessed are all who wait for him. Isaiah 40:31, which is one of my favorites. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. Lamentations 3:25. God proves to be good to the man who passionately waits, to the woman who diligently seeks. It's a good thing to quietly hope for help from God. It's a good thing when you're young to stick it out through the hard times. So those are just a few of the thousands of promises God gives us in his word, and I hope that those encourage you as you start off your week today. So that's all I have for you, and no matter what you're going through, no matter what you're trying to persevere for or whatever waiting season, working and waiting season you are in, let's get radiant from the inside out. Bye guys, have a good one.